So this is the studio where I used to compose, and not to compose. I compose in my office. And this is the place where I record my compositions. You see, and I record on this mixing table and this 16-track recorder.
That's your multi-track recording machine there, yes. So you can overdub.
Track, yeah.
You can overdub one track onto another and mix them all down on the desk here.
We have a. I'll show you. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 16, and every track is quite separate to each other, and then I mix them. I put them on my faders, and this is, suppose this is track 1, track 2, 3, 1. I have 20 possibilities. And because I have my 16 tracks, and also I have echo send, echo back, echo return, echo send, echo return. All the auxiliary devices. The reverb. This is limiting and limiter, compressor limiter. This is another kind of compressor limiter. I send the total of all my sounds of my mixing, my mix, and if it's too heavy, this compresses the sound, the total sounds. About the same kind of. This is for equalizer here. The heights, the low.
And what do you do your eventual mix down onto? Is that onto 1/4-inch tape? So I notice you have the two machines here.
The final tape is a 1/4-inch. Yes.
So that will be mixed onto these machines over here.
Yeah.
Studer machines, yes.
Studer are the best in the world. And also the music comes from the multi-track, finally to 1/4-inch tape.
Through the desk and the effects unit, the compressor, the echo, reverb, if necessary, and the graphic.
Yes.
That's splendid.
All what is here, I can find them anywhere I like here. I can find back here, or here, or there, or there, or there. Because there are two steps in recording. It is a recording by itself. That is to put on my large tape all the different 16 possibilities, and then second step to mix down the whole to be put onto the narrow tape.
Did you make any recordings in the studio that you sent to David or to John?
Yes. All the stuff, if I can say stuff, all the music I sent to David has been recorded here. All the But you know, it is some years old. The time. of York test card music. It was made for BBC for the King Arthur series.
Yes.
Now we go to...
That would have been recorded on your synthesizers that are
Yes, sure.
in this room.
All that. Now it is BBC.
So tell me, do you do any work with synthesizer music now at all?
No, it's finished.
With any regret?
No, not at all. I gave up synthesizer business with player.
Mm-hmm.
Because I prefer to make music with live musicians.
We are into the actual recording part of the studio where all your instruments are. Would you just briefly show us what you have? I see you have an old Fender Rhodes electric piano there.
Want me to?
Mm.
If you sound.
I noticed the vibraphone. Now, you don't see many of those these days.
No, because it's
And timps.
Thames is Ludwig Thames timpanis. I need two.
And what else do we have over here? Wood blocks.
Yes, of course. Everybody loves that. A lot of cymbals. Percussions in it.
Yes.
Percussions.
A lot of Latin percussion I see over there.
Latin percussion.
And a Lowrey organ.
That you play better than when I do. If you want to make this instrument to be heard, you play it.
So how many musicians can you fit in here to record?
This is a question everybody asks. Up to 15, maybe.
Yes, I should imagine it's a fair size.
I have had 15 here, but I wouldn't try to have more, because the sound would be not so good. If you put more than 15 musicians here, you need a larger room.
Yes, I suppose you'd need more room to separate instruments such as drums and percussion, wouldn't you?
I used to put to sit my strings here, like I say, two variants, alto, cello, and then here, right apart, the woodwinds, yeah, and the bass too, the bass, and the brasses. Maybe two trumpets, one trombone here. So I can separate them. I have enough microphones to take them quite separately, and then mix them. But I wouldn't. It's a matter also of strength of sound, of level. It is too high level to sound very good.
So how long after you moved to this house did it take you to get the studio built?
I moved in this house 30 years ago, and then after 3 years I started the studio. But here there was nothing. It was full of earth. It was ground. It was. And
So it was.
We had to dig. up to here, down to here. We had to dig down to here to have this large excavation, and then we built that.
Was it more of a question of the convenience of having your own studio, or once it was built, did it actually work out cheaper than, say, using a studio in Paris?
Oh, the two points of view are complementary. Eh? First, I bought the house, and I intended definitively to live here, and why not have my studio here? For the reason that I'm free to produce sound, noise, without disturbing the neighbors. That is a point. And then afterwards, I've thought that it was cheaper for small combinations of instruments, or by myself with my synthesizers. I played all by myself. And,
did you use a sequencer with the synthesizers?
Yes, for sequencer for rhythm.
Yes, keeping things in time.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't. I use my synthesizers performed by me according to boom, boom, a click or something like that. And I didn't go much furthermore to what I'm going to say. I say that I like to perform by myself, by my feeling, but I never got to computer.
Right. You never used a computer.
I never wanted to put a computer into, because I think the computer is not music. Computer is wonderful because every note comes exactly where it must come, and I think that if you are somewhat a part of the beat, it's good. It's a feeling.
It has a feel to it. Yes, the musicians feel rather than a mathematical.
So I never wanted to introduce computer in my composing.
Mm-hmm. So when you record with live musicians in here, are you conducting or are you engineering?
Yes, I'm conducting, but I have sometimes my wife, my
your good lady.
My good lady. My good lady. I prepare all the things.
Right.
And I thought, well, you see, this is on the board of the mixing table.
Yes.
And there she has instruments. This is violins, flutes, and everything. And you are aware not to. And she does it very well. Mm-hmm. Also, I used to have also a friend working with me, sometimes with me, and he's retired, absolutely retired now. And we most of the time we were two. He was at the mixing table, and I was conducting here. Or sometimes the musician, if the music had to be in tempo, I said to you one of them.
Get somebody to
go. And so music is you see, it's a very wide range of possibilities.
And I understand that you're still quite busy even now, aren't you?
Much less.
But you still compose and you still conduct, yes?
I still compose, and now I have my compositions published in America and in Canada and United States, and I have to narrate again the scores and supervise the publication of CDs and everything. I have but I'm not. I'm no more in the competition of music business, show music business.
You can take things a little easier now.
Quite easy.
And why not?
I must start from the beginning in a few words, not too long. I've been born in a family of musicians.
Uh-huh.
My father was an opera conductor. My mother was an opera and operetta singer. And when I was born, my father had to retire from conducting because of rheumatism, you see. He
yes.
had, how do you call that? He had
yes, I understand, yes.
Rheumatism
in his hands,
rheumatisms. Yes. And he couldn't stand keeping, and some nights or some days he couldn't. So he had to stop his activity as conductor, and he settled in Rouen, the town I was born, as a professor of music, teacher for piano and violin and piano, especially mainly piano. So when I was 3, as soon as I was born, I heard music. And at age 6, I was in my room and I was listening to music the pupils were playing under my father's. And I used to say, I used to sing in French, not the keys in English, the keys in French. Si, la, sol, la, do, re, do, si, do, mi, fa, mi, re, mi, si, la, sol, la, si, la, sol, la, do, la, do, si, la, sol, la, si, la, sol, la, si, la, sol, fa, mi. I used to know the name of the notes, the keys, the name of the keys, before I could read. I could read a paper and a book. Maybe 1 year before I could read at 6, but the music came a little before. So that's how music came to me. Music came to me better than I came to music. My parents didn't decide whether I should be a musician or not. I was bound to it. That's what. And then I started as pianist in the theater for rehearsals and everything, and then I had to play, to have a small orchestra when I was 15. I was earning my life, partly my life, at 16, playing for dancing music, for playing foxtrots. The years.
The music of people like Irving Berlin, perhaps?
Yes, Berlin. Gershwin, Cole Porter came
you have a soft spot for Irving Berlin, I understand.
Yes.
Who would you say was among your early influences in music? Would you say people like Irving Berlin heavily influenced you?
Yes, because I admired the music they composed, because I loved it. I know. I should say that the man who composed in 1925 composed always the waltz, always. It's a genius.
So what would you say was your break into the world of recording and composition? How did that all start for you?
How it started? Oh, slowly. I had I couldn't say. I started to compose for myself, and then I met a publisher who appeared to be interested in my composition, and said I had some compositions printed and published, and then it grew better and better. And with a small publisher at the beginning, and better, been published by every publishers in the world, starting by Francis Day and you know, in the business, you know, we know each other, and we don't know each other. One day we meet, we don't know why, where. I could say that I make acquaintance with Frank Shakespeare in Paris in a studio for a radio program. We had to make together, and then I stayed in. I remained in touch with him, and I used to come in London with him to work with him, especially at the BBC. We had he had a show, a radio show called Our Kind of Music. He used to invite me to come and share with him. How did I come? Yes, maybe it's Frank who made me in touch with the BBC, and then I've been in touch with David. Yes, it was quite different. He explained me, but I did at the moment I did understand perfectly what meant test card music, because test card for me said nothing to me. It's long after that I understand that test card is a card that appears on the screen for test, for technical tests. And David Allen asked me for, maybe before he heard some of my music that pleased to him. I don't remember which music, what title, I don't remember, but he told me, so far as I can remember, he said to me, they would like you to compose such kind of music, the kind of that example for our programs. And I did it, and then after I discovered that it was special music for test card. At the start, I brought him some material I've already recorded or pre-recorded, but I had to dispose of recording which I could dispose of, and I started like that, yes. And then he said we would like to have more, and especially in special kind of rhythm of light music. And then I composed a lot. I just scored it. I never played it on the piano. Right. I remember. I have scored and recorded so many compositions of other composers that it's all mixed up.
What sort of music would you say gives you the greatest pleasure nowadays?
Nowadays it's symphonic music. Mm-hmm. Symphony with full symphony orchestra with strings, winds and basses and thing, harp.
And that would be recorded in Paris?
Yes, in Paris, mm-hmm. In large studios, yes. This is my achievement, you see. I mean, this is what I have done the best.
And who would you say would be your favourite classical composers?
Oh, it's difficult to say. I should say that if we speak of composers chronologically, I should say that I love very much Handel, and not so much Mozart. I'm not so attracted by Mozart. This is the bass.